Welcome back to another edition of the Disney Dish podcast with Jim Hill. It's me, Len Testa, and this is our show for the week of December 23rd, 2019. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and Happy Kwanzaa to all of you. On the show today, I review Disney's new Riviera resort, and Jim gives us the history of the Caribbean beach resort on which the Riviera is built. Let's get started by bringing in the man who started daylight savings time by saying, "What if night began at lunch?" It's Mr. Jim Hill. Jim, how's it going?
Just yesterday, I was down visiting my parents in Massachusetts, and this discussion of why do some people call the meal, the tail end of the day, dinner, and others call it supper. And this began this Google fest where it turns out that dinner is more of an English thing. And
oh, I knew it was the British. I had this conversation one time with good friends of ours who were from outside London about the difference between the difference between tea, dinner, and supper. And if you have any British friends, you should ask them to describe it in detail.
Okay.
It is so nuanced as to be incomprehensible from anyone who wasn't born into the system.
And yet, baked beans for breakfast.
Tomatoes for breakfast.
Yeah, yes. That's it. That negates everything for me.
You say it's logical, however.
Yes, baked bean for breakfast. I'm sorry. This discussion ends now.
I once stood in a line with the kids, Alex and Kieran, my friends' kids, and at Gringotts. And while we were waiting for the hour, they explained not only Britain's system of government, but also the difference between these meals. And the people on either side of us were in rapt attention with this. They were like, "You should make this into a PBS show. Like we should explain this to Americans. This is fantastic." Yeah, it was great.
Something's got to fill the gap for Downton Abbey. Okay, I'm just saying. Just
true.
BBC
true.
America, get on this now.
All right, Jim, let's do a quick shout out to subscribers over at DisneyDish.bandcamp.com. Thanks to new subscribers Matt C, Randy M, and R Nolan, and longtime subscribers EJP, Patrick B, and Mr. Dan S. Did you know, Jim? These folks are the actor co-stars you see in the short Three Caballeros films throughout the Grand Fiesta Tour at Epcot's Mexico Pavilion.
I learned so much doing this show.
So Matt and Randy are the waiter and chef in the restaurant scene, and Patrick and Dan are the cliff divers, which they did with absolutely no prior experience. That's why these are silent films, Jim, because the audio would have just been, "The union's going to hear about this."
Ooh, wow. Okay.
All right, Jim, let's do the news. Folks, the Disney Dish News is brought to you by Storybook Destinations, trusted travel partner of the Disney Dish podcast. For a worry-free travel experience every time, book online at StorybookDestinations.com. And I mentioned Storybook Destinations, Jim, because I saw our good friend Tammy, who runs Storybook Destinations at the Riviera Resort, which opened this week, or last week, at in Walt Disney World. So it was great to see her. You've been following this one, Jim?
To be honest, I've been following Tammy, who just moved from the West Coast to Colorado and then has been doing, just living out of a suitcase, charging around the country. But so she was there for the opening of the Riviera, right?
She was, and she looked like a little bit jet lagged, but she was also going through those. I guess the Disney was holding some travel agent events at the opening. So the opening of a the opening of a Disney resort is an event, right? It happens only every couple of years. It's always a good time whenever it happens. I booked my stay. I think it was January. Whenever they announced like the opening day for it, I booked it. So basically a year in advance. And it's always an event.
Okay.
Especially for this resort, which I think is around 300 rooms. It's great to see, everything being run through for the first time with real live actual paying guests. So it's a hoot. So the background on this resort, Jim, it was designed to be basically Disney's first deluxe DVC resort. And the rumor that we had heard was that it was going to be Grand Floridian-like. Do you remember talking about that?
Yeah. And with the notion of, we have our 50th anniversary coming up of the Walt Disney World Resort. It's mostly going to be centered around Epcot. And so Epcot needs a Magic Kingdom monorail-like hotel.
That's a great way of saying it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And it is. It is Disney's first deluxe DVC. So it opened on the 16th. I show up at 6:30 a.m. at the guard's desk. I was awake.
Okay.
I spent the previous 2 days getting up at 4 a.m. for Rise of the Resistance.
I was about to ask.
My body clock was reset. Anyway, so I get there at 6:30. I get to the guard's station, and they say, the resort's not going to open until 7. So it's off of Osceola Parkway. I tell the guard, okay, I'll come back at 7, but do you know what this line is going to be like at 7 o'clock, right? With 300 people trying to check in, plus all the travel agents who are coming to see it, plus all of the media that want to come see it, right? Plus all the people who are just curious about it. Do you know what this is going to be like at 7 o'clock? And the dude gave me the look like, my supervisor's standing over there. I'm just the messenger man. So I flip around. I go sit at the that Speedway gas station right by Boardwalk.
Sure.
Sit there till 6:55, and I drive over. And sure enough, at 7 o'clock, traffic is backed up all the way down Osceola Parkway. In fact, it's so jammed that there are people who are coming the opposite way on Osceola Parkway who are trying to make a left into the Riviera are actually blocking traffic going the opposite way because of the way the lights work and the line is so backed up. So eventually I get in to the Riviera, and it's actually a pretty wonderful driving experience. You don't go directly from Osceola straight into the lobby. Instead, you know, like at Art of Animation, you go through sort of a curvy path to get to the drop off point to the entryway, and it's sort of like there's a reveal at the last minute where you finally see the entire resort face on in all of its glory for the first time. They do that, and it works really, really well as sort of like a grand reveal for the resort.
A quick question here: how much of this is residual infrastructure from Caribbean Beach?
That's a great question. It's a completely separate entrance from Caribbean Beach. So they built their own around the corner from Caribbean Beach. So completely separate. If you're staying at Riviera, you can see Caribbean Beach, but you don't see any infrastructure shared. Yeah, so that part's really, really good.
Okay.
So I drive up, and opening day, so I decided to valet park because I was going to be there for a couple of days. So and there was nobody at the valet parking, which was great. And it turns out that valet parking was actually free the first day. So woo!
Okay.
So I drop it off. Everyone's super excited. Take my bags, and I walk into the lobby. And you can tell right off right from the bat that they've learned a couple of things, or they've grabbed some of the best tricks about the entrance walk into the lobby. On either side of you are waterfalls. So they're tiered, formal concrete waterfalls, sort of like you would get in the back of a French garden, right? But it's up front. So it reminded me a lot of, you know, like when you're going into the Polynesian, going over the bridge, and you've got the waterfall and water on either side. Sort of so you got a soundscape. You can smell the water. It looks good. They've got that there. It looks really good.
Okay.
But then right before you get to the lobby are these two sort of arcades, you know, like in Disneyland Paris along Main Street. They've got the arcades. They've got two arcades on either side of the lobby with wrought iron gates opening up. One opens up to a small little courtyard with some chairs. I think the other one, they're using for scooter storage. They were at the time, but it could eventually be, you know, something else. Very small, but charming, right? In good place setting for Disney. They did a great job on it. So you walk into the lobby, and it's all white marble. And let me just say, too, it smells like a spa on the inside. It smells great when it comes in. Very clean, sort of. It smells, I think my younger sister was there. She walked in, and she said, "This smells like rich people." Which I'm not sure how to describe the scent in any other way, but that was what she went with. Okay. So you're in a... Yeah, go ahead.
No. Like crisp pills of a high denomination, Len.
That's exactly it. That's it. Maybe that's what it smells like. The banker who hands you the crisp bills of a high denomination, that's what it smells like.
There we go.
So it was really good. So a lot of white marble on the inside. And the thing that jumped out at me first was the artwork. So you've seen the concept art of the artwork at Riviera, where it's Disney's take on old European masters, but with a Disney flair. So it's actually old and new Disney Masters. The lobby has two really large prints in the style of Henri Matisse. So the bold sort of geometric shapes in primary colors, the reds, the blues, the yellows, the greens. But it's done with Disney character silhouettes interspersed in the geometric shapes. It's very clever. You would have to look at it for a little bit to find the Disney characters. So very subtle, very understated, but I liked it. And it went really well with the decor. So it's an oval shaped lobby. It's relatively small. I would say it's much more like Kidani Village's lobby than it is Animal Kingdom Lodge. No soaring ceilings, nothing like that. Okay. It's also similar to the Grand Testino Tower lobby in that if you go back far enough, you eventually go downstairs, and they've got sort of that tall, multi-story glass window looking out over the grounds. So off the lobby, you've got Le Petit Café, which is in the morning serving coffees and pastries, and they are fantastic. In the evening, it switches over to wines and pastries. So basically, pastries is what I'm saying, Jim, with your preferred drink of choice.
Okay.
Spacious, well decorated, some interesting artwork in there. Excellent service. Food was very good. I mean, it's the standard Disney croissants, but they actually switch out the menu around lunchtime and go to afternoon pastries then, and those are fantastic. And attached to the cafe is a reading room with Europe-related Disney memorabilia. So you can see pictures of Walt in Europe. There's some display cases with memorabilia from like the first Mickey Mouse doll sold in Europe, things like that. The scene or the theme is a library, but you can't actually pull the books out of the shelves. They're sort of glued down. But still, plenty of tables, excellent service. It becomes table service in the evening, so somebody will bring you your drinks if you want. I would say overall, very adult feel, very sophisticated for a Disney DVC resort. And that's interesting. One of the things that I heard over and over again from people as I was going through the resort is it feels more grown up. And that's not to say there weren't kids, but it feels more adult. Is that something that Disney's consciously going for these days?
You know, it's so...
I ask, and here's why I ask. Like more than half of the surveys, the guest surveys that we get from the official guide and from TouringPlanes.com are adult-only trips. And I was wondering if that's something that Disney was targeting.
Well, you were just forwarded a survey where they're talking about a brand new set of amenities that are being considered for the Disney World Resort. They're talking about creating at pre-existing Disney World resorts adult-only areas, whether it's spa space or a quiet pool or that sort of thing. This seems to be something that is definitely on Disney's radar, and this is the feel for this new DVC.
That makes sense then. Yeah. And I've heard that over and over from a lot of people that there should be, within existing resorts, some sort of adult-only section, at least during parts of the day. And I think the one that you and I have talked about is that bars should be adults only after 5 p.m.
I get that, but at the same time, you look at...
I know, I understand. One bar in a deluxe resort should be all adult only after 5 p.m. I'm not saying it.
I get that. I get that. But you have to tell the Imagineers who are sort of trying to read the tea leaves in regard to Bob Chapek, and it's like, yes, of course. What the Grand Floridian needs is a Beauty and the Beast themed bar. At the library.
Remind me of that, because one of the things that I realized after the fact is that the Beauty and the Beast bar shares the same chandelier design as Topolino at the Riviera. So it's all French, but it looks like they got a 2-for-1 bargain from whoever made the light fixtures.
The first pass, not quite, but hang on, I got another one.
You like that? I got two.
There we go. So.
Anyway, so from that also there's a shopping boutique which with, I'm told, the largest selection of resort specific merchandise of any DVC resort, and it looked good too. I mean, the bathrobes you would wear around all day, like you would hate to get into regular clothes, because the bathrobes are that fluffy, but relatively small. I mean, you could probably live for a couple of days on the food that you buy in the refrigerated cases, but eventually you'd want more. But again, it's for a couple of days. There's enough stuff there for anything that you need.
Okay.
So the resort is actually separated into an east wing and a west wing, and the west wing is closer to the Skyliner. So off of the lobby, you'll have walkways, hallways to the elevators for the west wing and the east wing, and also elevators down to the first floor, the grounds themselves. On the grounds, they added a very European feature, which is a bocce court. So lawn bowling, if you're familiar with this. And people were actually playing it, which was great.
Now, all right, refresh my memory. When we went to Golden Oaks, out at Palm Springs.
Oh, to the no, it was Smoke Tree Ridge.
Smoke Tree Ridge, my mistake. Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't Walt actually pay for the creation of the bocce?
Of the bocce court there, yeah.
That was one of the ways he sort of
into European.
Yeah, sort of earned his way into the good graces of the folks who were running Smoke Tree. Because the thing of Smoke Tree is you had to be invited to be part of the community. You couldn't just come in and buy, so to speak. So Walt sort of endeared himself. But I remember they had the bocce lawn court set up right next to the recreation center, right?
Right. And the recreation center was actually named for Disney, wasn't it?
There you go.
So bocce court, very Disney, very European, was there. They also have a European style activity lawn. So if you imagine a French formal garden, you've got sort of hedges and very ornate lawns laid out in geometric styles. This is similar, but without the hedges. So there's an area there to play chess. You can see sort of the geometric styles if you're of the lawn, how it's laid out. If you're in the lobby looking down, there are two pools. There's a quiet pool like directly in back of the lobby. It's relatively small, but still well apportioned. And then there's a larger pool, the Riviera pool, which is directly opposite the east wing, and it's a zero entry pool. Has a great kids area. In fact, as I was walking through the pool area, the kids pool area, I was taking video, and I was trying to figure out what all of the ropes and the dials and all of the gadgets that they built in the kids pool. I was trying to figure out what they did. So a cast member helpfully volunteered to go in the pool. It was a splash area, but in the water, so the water was like ankle deep, but still it was ankle deep. So, but a cast member who was a lifeguard who was working there was like, "Oh, I'll go show you what all this does." So he's he's pulling on the ropes that make the water spurt out and stuff, and he's doing all the running around for me. I'm like, "Thank you for doing all this, sir," rather than me rolling up my my pants and getting wet because it was 60 degrees. The day that we were doing this, it was a little cold. So kudos to the cast members who volunteered for that. Great kids play area. I would have played in it for like an hour. It was fantastic. Right off of that, because anytime you've got kids in play, you obviously need a bar, and so there's a. It's called.
What a wonderful
anyway. I don't know about
example
you
you're
guys.
setting. Okay, but please continue.
I wonder, Jim, when my babysitting service never took off. I think this is it.
Daddy needs a new muscatel. All right,
Exactly. So it's called Bar Riva. It's a covered outdoor bar, very European. Reminds me of sort of Greece. The funny thing is, so it's a deep blue, like ocean blue theme colored bar. The paintings on the wall are of sort of Greece cliffside homes, and they actually included a Disney Cruise Line ship in the mural, which is really nice. Yeah, but a great bar if you want to. You can sit out, watch the kids, and still be covered, so shaded from the sun while you're doing it. It looked great. They also have the movie lawn over by the main pool. And then, like I said, the Skyliner is on the opposite side of the resort. So I check in. First thing I did is I had character breakfast over at Topolino, which is on the 10th floor. So first thing, I check in, immediately go to breakfast. And so this is a character breakfast with Mickey and Minnie, Daisy and Donald. They are all dressed up in their European finest. Minnie's wearing a très chic French outfit. Donald, I believe, is a sculptor, but then again, who knows? And they're all in their various characters. The thing that I found most remarkable about this is the price of the character breakfast. Currently, $41 for adults. I think $34 for kids. That is remarkably inexpensive for a Disney character meal. I mean, it'll go up next month.
Well,
right?
no, that's it exactly.
It'll be $51 next month.
Sort of keeping tabs through social media and that sort of thing. And people are already just raving about this is the best character dining experience on property right now. And
it's very small, and you have a very high or a very low ratio of characters to guests. Like we could have gone through each character twice in our short meal.
Okay.
So the room itself is, I would say it's probably half the size of California Grill, and it's laid out similar. So it's the decor is relatively neutral. The big draw is the view. So you've got windows on three sides, and you can see Epcot and the studios relatively close. In fact, you were so close to Epcot that the first icon that you see in Epcot is the Campanile Bell Tower of Italy. And it's directly in line with your site. So fantastic views of Epcot forever at night. And on the other side, or nearby, fantastic views of the studios fireworks shows at night too. Really, really good views. If you're thinking of going there, you have to have a reservation to access so they've got a little outdoor balcony, outdoor patio, actually pretty spacious, where you can watch all these things. Got to have a reservation to get in though. You can't just walk up and do it. Anything
by way of dress code?
So they say business casual, but nothing was being enforced while I was there.
Okay.
So character breakfast overall, I tried a few things. They start you off with an artist palette cup of pastries. So blueberry muffins, croissants, things like that. I thought it was very good overall. I tried a few things on the menu. One of them is a sausage hash, which was mildly spicy. I wouldn't call it, spicy, but that was very good. So eggs, onions, peppers, sausage, all sort of mixed up, which was good. Came with a side of meat, so bacon, sausage, vegetarian sausage. The other thing I tried, which was recommended, was sour cream waffles, which mine weren't very crisp. They were more like sour cream pancakes in a waffle shape, but it came with a meat too as well. There was also a steak option for breakfast because this is America, which was delicious. But it was a lot of. You would eat this and go back to bed. It was a lot of steak and eggs, and you would go back to bed after that. Also, they've got this sort of the standard, 2 eggs with a meat and potatoes standard that Disney has. Overall, I thought for $41 and the characters, definitely worth it. Again, I expect that to go up within a month. Also came back to dinner that night, and dinner was excellent. So it would definitely be in my top 10 restaurants for Walt Disney World. I'm not sure it's in my top 5, but it might be just outside of my top 5. The interesting thing there is my all-time favorite server team in Walt Disney World is now working at Topolino. So I won't mention their names because I don't want everybody asking for them, because that would be sort of awkward if you couldn't get them. But they're there. They came from Victoria and Albert's. I consider these folks, they're a married couple. I consider them sort of the gold standard for Disney service.
Wow.
And they're there, which was really good to see them, actually. And I got one of them for our servers, and it didn't disappoint.
Holy cow. But when you think about what people do to land Victoria and Albert, the fact that they've got people of that quality at Topolino's, holy cow.
So this particular couple went Victoria and Albert's, Tiffin's, back when Tiffin's was good, to Topolino. So it was great to see them. Super, super knowledgeable about wines and wine recommendations. As you would expect from anyone who was trained at Victoria and Albert's, they know everything about the menu extensively and can do pairings as well as you would think. So service, 5 stars out of 5. The food, I thought overall was very good. Tried almost everything on the menu. So it's breaking up into appetizers, starters, pastas, and mains. So the starters are things like marinated olives or cheese with bread. And then starters are things like plate of beets or salads or escargot or ravioli.
Okay.
Of these, I tried the gnocchi, which is with duck confit, $16. I think this is one of the best starters that you could get. It's delicious. It's savory. It's relatively small, so you're not going to fill up on it. But fantastic flavor from. They have like a white pesto that goes with it, and it's accompanied with kale and pine nuts. I would definitely get the gnocchi. Also, the burrata con panna, which is freshly made burrata cheese with bread in a winter truffle and olive oil. The other thing we tried was the Heritage Hog Terrine, which comes with brioche, apple, celery, and endive. Also very good. I mentioned the beets, which are super interesting because they're beets, right? They're the root vegetable with white beans and radish. But they imagine it in a glass terrarium, but like a hothouse. But instead of glass, they're using a pressed lemon meringue to function as the walls and top of the hothouse. That's how that's how it's presented. So you eat the beets along with little pieces of the lemon meringue, and the tartness, the sourness of the lemon goes really well with the beets. So whoever thought of it not only thought of a great flavor combination, but a really interesting way to present it. I'm not even a huge fan of beets, and I thought it was delicious.
That sounds tasty and pretty. Wow. Okay, cool.
It was both. It was both. I think the highlight of the starters for us, though, was the kale and pear salad, which came with figs, quinoa, almonds, and cheese. Delicious. Would totally eat that entire salad by myself as a starter. Also tried the winter pumpkin ravioli with wild mushroom soup and pumpkin seed oil. Also delicious. The things that we didn't try were the escargot and the romaine salad. We just ran out of people for the food. But again, everything on that was good. The pastas, they do a braised chicken rigatoni, which was delicious. My favorite was the linguine scampi. So shrimp with San Marzano tomatoes, garlic, lemon, olive oil, pasta, obviously. I think that was the best of the pastas that we tried. It wasn't like overly garlicky, so it was really well balanced. Everything was perfectly cooked. I thought that was very good. We tried 4 of the seafood and meats selections. We tried the veal chop, which was probably my number 1 in that. We tried the braised lamb shake, which is actually what I ordered, which was fine for what it was, but it's actually so tender that it reminded me sort of like a beef pot roast.
Oh, okay.
Which wasn't what I was going for in lamb, and there was a lot. It was a lot of it. So, of all of the things that we ordered, it would probably be the thing that I would order last again. They've got the also on the menu the standard filet mignon, which again is standard truffled mashed potatoes. Every Disney menu has to have filet and mashed potatoes somewhere. This is that. Absolutely fine. They do a vegetarian option with a bean cassoulet with king trumpet mushrooms and root vegetables and a plant-based sausage. And if you had told me, Jim, that this was plant-based sausage, if you didn't tell me ahead of time, I wouldn't have known the difference.
Wow.
It was super tasty. I liked it quite a bit. I think breakfast is a decent value. I think possibly except for the braised lamb shake that I had at dinner, everything was delicious. Every dessert that we tried on the menu was excellent. I would recommend all of them again as well. In terms of prices, very reasonable for Disney and very reasonable for the service and the atmosphere that you get. Really, really good.
One of the features of this restaurant is the fact that you get that view. And one of the issues with Grand Californian, which also has that equivalent of that view, is that when the fireworks go off or that sort of thing, the dining room a good portion of the dining room stands up and goes to, out to take a look at that sort of thing. Did something similar Topolino or?
Yeah. So it actually happens twice because of the time of year and the time at which the sun sets. And because the restaurant is so high up, they actually keep the blinds lowered until a couple of minutes before sunset. And that as the sun sets, they raise the blinds. And at that point, everybody goes outside to take photos of the sunset because it's really a picturesque view. You get sort of Epcot in the background. You've got the resort itself in the foreground. And you've got the sun setting in the far, far background. It's very pleasant, especially when the sun actually goes down, so you get some decent light on it. Yeah, so the floor does clear out a couple of times, and the staff knows that, right? The staff knows that that's going to happen.
Okay.
But overall, really good experience. Can't say enough about the service. Food's very high quality. Like I said, maybe not in my top 5, but definitely my top 10.
Okay.
So then I eventually made it back to my room, and this is where I think the resort is very good. So because it's a new DVC, it's got the newer DVC layouts. In particular, if you're thinking about like a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, or 3-bedroom, the main thing that you want to know, besides the size of the rooms, is that the kitchen is in that new galley style layout, where you've got sort of the refrigerator and seating on one side of the galley, and you've got the sinks, the appliances, the dishwasher and so on, and the range on the other side. And the reason why that's important is it really opens up the room. So if you've ever stayed like at Saratoga Springs, for example, you know that when you walk into Saratoga, the kitchen itself is sort of in a walled off area, right? It's got counters around it, sort of segmenting that space from the rest of the main living area. Here, it's all one clean flow through, and it really opens up the place. I'll say, so the rooms themselves follow the decor of the lobby, a lot of white marble everywhere. Tons of bright light, excellent lighting, lots of windows, very clean, very modern, very sleek space. When I looked at the room illustrations online, when I looked at the concept art for it, I thought it didn't look particularly themed. But with the artwork and with the wood finishes and the wood accents that they added, I think it's just themed enough. It's definitely not themed. And for me, it's about as themed as I would want it for this kind of room. So theming for me wasn't a problem at all. Like I said, very clean, super functional. The other thing is these rooms are huge, Jim, especially in comparison to most other DVC resorts. So I'll give you an example. I'll start with the big rooms and I'll work my way down. So the 3-bedroom Grand Villa is over 2,500 square feet. It's actually slightly larger than the size of the median new home in the United States.
Dear Lord. Okay. Yeah.
3 full bathrooms, complete dining room, tons and tons of space. So it's broken up into three separate bedroom areas. One is the master bedroom with a king bed and, all the stuff that goes with that, and its own separate, master bath. There's another bedroom with 2 queen beds. It doesn't have an ensuite bathroom, but you walk across the short hall and there's a bathroom right there. And then you get another third bedroom with 2 queen beds and an attached bathroom with a shower as well. And like I said, in the middle, you've got a giant living room, plenty of space for everyone, directly opposite the kitchen. And then you've got a dining room space with a table for 10 in case you needed to have some sort of conference. So there's a main balcony right after the living room, and then the third bedroom and the master bedroom also have their own balconies. As far as I can tell, every room at the Riviera has either a balcony or on the first floor it's got a patio. So that's really, really good there. The 2-bedroom, which is what I had, sleeps 10 people. So 6 in regular beds, 2 in fold-down beds, and 2 in the trundle beds. By the way, Jim, did you see the trundle bed thing on the first night?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell listeners what happened?
As I understand it, that a mother with 2 daughters who were staying at the hotel, and in the middle of the night, the trundle bed that the mom was sleeping in separated from the wall. And the daughters had to come rescue the mom.
It made a mom sandwich.
There we go. It's at moments like this that you really feel for the crew that ran the hotel. Because face it, you hired contractors to come in to put in all this equipment. It all looks lovely. But again, you haven't had actual people in your hotel yet. And now, whether it's somebody used the wrong length screw on that one bed or, whatever the deal is, now every one of the trundle beds in the hotel has to be out of commission while they go and check to make sure that every single one of these is properly anchored into the wall. And it's just sort of like, but again, that's the joy of opening a brand new resort. It's just sort of like, oh, we're ready. No, we're not. I feel for the mom.
Yeah, I'm glad no one was hurt. So this happened apparently either late, I think late on the first night, late on Monday night, because we had gone out for breakfast on Tuesday at the resort and come back. And we had a notice taped on to the fold-down bed that said, sorry, can't use it. And if you were planning on use it, we'll move you somewhere else, right? So basically, if you had, we would move you to the next largest room, or we would make some sort of accommodation for you. So I'm glad that no one got hurt, seriously hurt from the event. And Disney handled it the best way that they could. Yeah, fair enough. So I was in a 2-bedroom, 1,246 square feet, bigger than any apartment I've ever lived in, Jim. So 6 people in regular beds. So there's a master bedroom with a king bed, and then 2 queens in the other room, 2 in a fold down bed. So this isn't a fold out couch. This is one of those things where the bed actually folds down on top of the couch from the wall, which allows you to have a better mattress. I really like this. And then 2 people in trundle beds. I don't know that 10 people the room would feel full with 10 people, even at 1,246 square feet. The thing that I like about this design, and this is what's different than the older DVCs. So the 2-bedroom villa had 3 showers in it. On the bedroom opposite the master bedroom, it had its bathroom was separated so that one of the bathrooms had the commode and a shower, and the shower was exactly the same as in the master bath shower. So marble tile, rainforest shower head, tons of space. It could hold a little conference call in there if you needed to. And then the other side of the bath had a sink and then a bathtub shower combo. And I really like this because the next night I stayed at 2 nights later I stayed at Kidani in a 2-bedroom, and it only had 2 bathrooms. Which again, only 2 bathrooms in my 2-bedroom villa is a sort of first world problem. But if you've got 4 people, you basically have to stage people getting ready. Oh no! Whereas if you had that 3rd bathroom, it would just make things a little bit easier. So I really like the new.
In this wonderful age of until they just changed the boarding group policy on Star Wars: Rise of the Resistance, the notion of trying to get people out the door for their 4:30 trip over to the studio. I mean, that's the thing. Just having 3 showers versus 2, you can move things along that much quicker.
Yeah, I really liked it. In fact, so I did a quick survey of the folks who stayed with us in the 2-bedroom at Riviera versus the 2-bedroom at the Kidani, and all of them to a person preferred the Riviera over Kidani, even though we had excellent views of the animals in the savannah at Kidani. So the 1-bedroom is 813 square feet, sleeps 5 people. It's got that dedicated master bedroom with 1 shared bathroom. There's also a deluxe studio, 423 square feet, sleeps 5. And then, Jim, there's the tower studio room. Have you seen pictures of this tower studio room?
I've been told I have to chase this down.
Oh, it's a story, Jim.
Okay.
So every room, the deluxe studio is great. The 1 bedroom, the 2 bedroom, and the grand villas are all some of Disney's best DVC rooms. And overall, I really like the resort. Let me just say that. I think it's fantastic. It's pricey. We'll talk about the prices right after this. But overall, I think it's a very good resort. Let me just say that the tower studio rooms, which sleep 2 people, are literally the worst hotel rooms in Walt Disney World and the worst value, without question.
Really?
So I did the blog post on these, Jim, and I captioned every photo with the words, "All work and no play make Jack a dull boy." Every single photo. If they ever make a sequel to The Shining with Jack Nicholson, they will stage one scene will be shot in this room. Okay, so I visited it at night. So it's 220 square feet. These are called tower studios because they're at the ends of each wing, and they're not quite round, but they're sort of like pie-shaped studio rooms, and they've got balconies as well. 220 square feet includes the bathroom, Jim, which means that the main living area is somewhere between like 150 and maybe 170 square feet. And the line that I used in the blog post was, just remember they give you 65 square feet per person in most state prisons. Okay. 2 people, I had 2 friends that were staying in this room, and I walked into the room after dinner at night, and good friends, people who I like a lot, people who I would not mind sharing a hotel room with under any normal circumstances. And within 30 seconds, I'm not exaggerating, the conversation stopped. And the first thing I said after it stopped to get the conversation going was, "This feels weird, right?" The room is so small that one of my friends actually stood in the bathroom while we talked, because that was how, like when you're standing in a group, everyone needs their personal space. That was where she felt comfortable in her personal space. Like, I will go talk to you from the bathroom because there's not enough room in the main living area for the 3 of us to talk comfortably. It's just a little weird.
I'm sorry. This is really making me channel my inner Shecky. The room was so small, I had to go out in the hall to change my mind. The room was so small. The mics were hunchbacks. I'm sorry. Wow. Really? Normally, weren't these reserved for, where you keep the tiny soaps? I mean, why would you create a room this small?
And it's pricey too. So the room starts at like $367 a night and goes up to $610 with taxes. First of all, let me just say the room size is not its main problem. Its main problem is that it's dark at night. So they've got one central light fixture, which is not bright at all. And although you've got windows, at night, especially now when it gets dark at 5 o'clock, the windows are black at night. And they've got floor to ceiling shelves where the bed folds down from. The bed actually folds up during the day because the room is so small. But the floor to ceiling sort of cabinets and everything, they've only got 2 lights in them. So there's not enough lighting in the cabinets. And 2, it's painted this sort of like absorption gray, where the gray just sucks the light from the room. So it's dark at night. And in fact, the brightest part of the room is the bathroom. So I was not kidding when I said, if they had a chair in this room, I would pull it into the bathroom to lounge, because it's the most cheerful part of the room. I actually offered my friends, I'm like, look, I've got a 2-bedroom villa. I'm only using 1 bedroom tonight. Everyone else is checking in tomorrow. Come stay with me. And they're like, no, we have to review it. We have to do the whole thing. To their credit, they actually stuck it out for the night.
Okay.
And stayed there. But Jim, it was physically and mentally uncomfortable to be in that room for more than a minute. I don't know how they spent the night there. And they said, like, when I walked in, they're like, yeah, we didn't know what we were getting into, that sort of thing.
When Dean Koontz and Stephen King come by to do turn down service, just
exactly. Yeah. Stephen King walks in, he's like, I'd just like to take a few notes.
There we go.
Before let me just a couple of pictures so I can remember what this is like.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable in many ways. It was not a good room. Like I said, overall, I think the resort is great. That was not the best part of the resort at all. I don't know how they're going to sell it, frankly. I know that studios are generally the most popular DVC category, but that room is not not good for the points.
What are those? The interactive experience where you're locked in a room?
It is. It's like the Riviera escape room.
There we go.
How do you escape? You book another room.
Trust me. Give them 6 months. They'll turn this into a revenue stream, Len.
Yeah. All of the clues lead to you picking up the phone and dialing 1-800-WDisney to book somewhere else. So speaking of points, let me just do a quick point rundown here. So Deluxe Studio, again, sleeps 5 people. At Kidani is 98 points. And for a standard view room, and a Savannah view room is 117 points. I think that works out to, at $18 a point, $4,300 for a week over spring break versus $5,600. At the Riviera, it is for Deluxe Studio 135 and 160 points. So considerably more. At the 1 bedroom at Kidani is 194 points. Again, week over spring break. 231 points for a Savannah View room. That's 3,500 and 4,150 if you're keeping track for a week. The Riviera is actually about a third more than that. 268 points versus 194 for a standard view 1 bedroom. That's $4,800 at $1,800 a point versus $3,500 or a $1,300 price difference. For the preferred view rooms versus the Savannah view rooms, it's 328 versus 231. So almost 100 more points or $1,800. Same thing for the 2 bedroom. It's 345 points at Riviera, 241 at Kidani for the standard view rooms, or 429 and 311 for the preferred and Savannah view rooms. So about $2,000 more per week for the 2 bedrooms at Riviera. But again, the rooms are better. Whether they're $2,000 a week better for the 2 bedroom, I'd have to think about, because that's a lot of admission. But if you've got the money, it's a better room.
One of the keys to this resort being built at all was the fact that the 50th anniversary is happening right over there.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Just the whole notion of you want to stay at the brand new resort that's next to Party Central for Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary. So no problem for the first 2 and 3 years, but going to be kind of intriguing to see, what happens with the resort in, 2022, 2023.
Yeah, after the initial attendance bumps of the 50th. I will say one more thing. If you walk out to the Skyliner, you pass through a very European archway, which has fantastic, intricate tile work. You know the tile work inside Cinderella Castle in the Magic Kingdom that shows the scenes of basically the Cinderella story. Same type of quality tile work here. Basically 1/4-inch tiles that go all the way up the wall and onto the ceiling, telling the story of, I believe, Tangled. Fantastic tile work. A really nice blue, and it's on the inside of the arched walkway are fountains. It is a super picturesque way to either leave it for the Skyliner or when you're coming back, to come back to the resort. And it opens up to into the back end of the resort. So really fantastic look. Like I said, overall, fantastic resort. Only thing I didn't like about it, the Tower Studio rooms. But other than that, really, really good opening for Disney. It's a great addition to DVC.
Sounds amazing.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Jim is going to tell us the history of the Caribbean Beach Resort on which the Riviera is built. We'll be right back.
Breathe deep. Imagine your legs more limber in Duluth Trading Double Flex Denim. Envision euphorically squatting for that can of suds. Bending for your toolbox in a state of bliss. Lunging for your laser level on a whole new level. Relax and allow the flex to fill you with ability. Find your inner flex in Double Flex Denim only at Duluth Trading.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana.
And we're back. All right, Jim, we're almost 50 minutes into the show. Let's do the abbreviated version of the Caribbean Beach Resort timeline. Are you ready?
Yeah, and in fact, I want to say now you got into the Buzz Price archive.
I did.
Right. And there was that famous meeting. I mean, Eisner had come through the door in late September, early October of 84. And then there was that famous meeting on property, I want to say in January of 85, where, the whole notion was, okay, Michael, one of the things we're doing here is we need to get new hotels up out of the ground. But the question is, what sort of hotels? I just recently have come across the initial description of what they were doing with Yacht and Beach Club and Boardwalk and Dolphin and the Swan. They literally referred to that chunk of property as the Convention Kingdom, Len. This is where we want all of our conventions to happen because we want to support Epcot because, again, that was the problematic park at that point, getting people to come back and eat in the restaurants and that sort of thing. But at the same time, in this famous charrette, this 3-day-long thing that was held in January of 85, they talked about the fact that clearly they needed moderate hotels on property. And the question was, well, where do we build these moderate hotels? And again, same thing. It was the notion of, well, look, we have slots that we've previously picked out for things. And at one point, they were talking about they'd cleared a slot on the edge of Bay Lake for what was then going to be known as the Cypress Point Lodge. But in the end, it was one of these things where it's like, look, this is next to the Magic Kingdom. This is our most popular park, and we shouldn't be building a moderate there. We should be building, a full-scale, amazing hotel, which is how a Cypress Point, which was a relatively modest 800 moderately priced rooms, became Wilderness Lodge, which opened in 94 and has since, between the villas and the Copper Creek Canyon, the satellites, I mean, that's the deluxe's deluxe. But it wasn't honestly till August of 87 that Disney started construction of Caribbean Beach. But the notion was, okay, in the exact same window of time, we've gone forward with construction of the Grand Floridian, a 900-room deluxe hotel, right next to the Magic Kingdom. And we're going to build this $50 million project, the Caribbean Beach Resort, which was Disney's first real run at the hotels out on 192. There's this famous press piece that was written during this period that, in fact, it's Martin Hunter, the president of the Central Florida Hotel and Motel Association, just basically said, you don't understand, Disney's doing this now. This is the thing we've been fearing our entire lives. If you honestly think Disney is going to quit with this one hotel, you're crazy.
Right.
And sure enough, when the hotel first opened in October of 1988, first set of rooms, they had 750 of them ready to go. And, they would continue construction there till June of 89. The 3 different phases, and I want to say upwards of 2,100 rooms total. And this is during a period where Disney's on-property hotels have an occupancy rate of north of 85, sometimes 95% year-round.
Yeah, that's very strong.
Yeah, and so the initial selling point is, here is Disney's first affordable, themed hotels, and you're paying $75 a night for room. In fact, that's the median price. They went from, I want to say, parking lot view was 65, garden view was 85.
I actually stayed here in 88. This was the first Disney hotel I ever stayed at.
Really? Okay. And
yeah, Caribbean Beach.
Do we remember what it was like, or?
It's a lot like it is now. It hasn't changed much, but I thought the theming was excellent. I liked the scale of the room. So you remember, most of these are 2-story buildings with a handful of rooms on each floor.
Yep.
The couple of times that I stayed there when I was young, obviously, I didn't care so much about the walking to the central food court. So rather than each building having its own, food or amenities, you had to walk into the central food court. I thought at the time the food court was fine. Again, I was young, but overall, I enjoyed it a lot. I was obviously very excited to be staying on site, and I think that affected a lot of my views. But yeah, overall, I liked it quite a bit. I still love. I think the color scheme is excellent. I think the landscaping is very, very good, and I don't mind the in-room air conditioner units, which are the old sort of 80s style motel air conditioning units. I don't mind those at all. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah. This was created basically to sort of fire a shot across the bow of, the hotels were down in Kissimmee where, people were paying $20 and $30 a night. And yes, it's still quite the upcharge from $20 and $30 a night to $65 to $85 a night. But compared to what you're paying for the Flow or the Contemporary, or it's 105 to up to 165.
165 for the Contemporary. I think that's actually the tax on the rooms now. I'd have to go back and look. It's pretty close.
But I guess for me, the most fascinating time was right after 9/11.
Oh, yeah, jeez.
March of that year, Port Orleans had just
Dixie Landings had closed, right?
That's it. Well,
no, sorry, it had opened.
Well, the weird thing is they had done this elaborate rebranding in March where Dixie Landings went away and suddenly it was Port Orleans and you had the French Quarter and the Riverside as opposed to, but then, of course, the 9/11 happens and, on-site, because nobody can fly, the on-site occupancy at the resort just falls through the floor. And so,
do you remember they actually closed resorts, like they closed French Quarter?
They closed all of Dixie Landings and they kept only 350 rooms open in the French Quarter. And then...
Yeah, it was... So I stayed there actually when that happened. And because it was one of Bob's favorite places to stay at the time. And I remember like biking around the resort and it was a ghost town. And
it stayed that way till May, Len. It was closed. They shut it down from November to... and in fact, they only were able to open it again May 31st of 2002. In January of 2002, they said to the Caribbean Beach Resort. We have to redo the food court. And since people won't have any place to eat, we're shutting the entire resort. Rather than admit that they were dealing with some really scary issues, Disney put a very brave face on, and no, we're going to, from January to June, we're going to be redoing the food court at Caribbean Beach, and it just doesn't make any sense. And all I can think of is when I stayed at Caribbean Beach Resort while they were building Riviera, and I remember coming into my room and there was this Disney bag on the table to the effect of, "Hi, food court's closed. Here's your food. We're staying open.
Meals ready to eat."
Yeah, exactly. That's it exactly.
They closed it during the slow September, October, November periods, right? And it reopened around Christmas, right?
Yeah.
But taking 2,100 rooms out of circulation at Disney, oof.
Yeah. And that for me, I guess, is the other thing that's kind of fascinating about picking this exact spot for the Riviera. Because, now we lost Barbados, we lost Martinique. Hotels now down to 1,500 plus rooms.
It does a number of things, though, because Disney's been doing this pretty frequently over the last decade. They'll take some existing capacity and and convert it to DVC. So they've done it at Wilderness Lodge. They did it at Animal Kingdom Lodge. Here, they take some existing cash rooms out of circulation, which boosts the overall occupancy of the resort, right? And creates less supply, which allows them to increase prices. But they also create a new DVC revenue stream, for the next 40 years. So it really helps their books in a number of ways, assuming they can keep selling DVC.
I get it. In 2008, they totally redid the pool area, and in fact, have the Del Moro pool with the pirate theming. And this was done on the
pirate-themed rooms.
Yeah,
right. And the Nemo themed rooms.
I mean, they made a lot of really smart choices with this hotel over the years. And when you factor in what the Skyliner has done, and it's fascinating to me to be now have people, they'll talk about Rise of the Resistance and, the operational issues here. Do you ever hear anybody talking about Skyliner now?
No, it's been, and it stops every day.
Yeah.
Right, for a few minutes, but it's not as bad as it used to be by any means.
But what that's done to make each of the hotels, whether it's Art of Animation, Pop Century, or for that matter, Riviera with Caribbean Beach Resort, the number of people who are just passing through or getting off to experience these hotels or go to the food court or do a little shopping and that sort of thing. If you talk with cast members, it's like, wow, everything they said this was going to do, it's doing that and more.
Oh yeah, no, I'm telling you, the Caribbean Beach looks great from the Riviera. The most obvious one is the Martinique section. So if you're over in the East Wing, you can walk to Martinique, and it looks gorgeous. The blue paint, the bright blue paint, looks really really good. And then Aruba is closest to the Skyliner. So actually, Jim, if you're in Aruba, I think 54, 55, 56, the shortest transportation for you is probably the Skyliner if you wanted to go to Epcot or the studios. It's not the bus.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that prevents you from walking there. It's a free flow of traffic. You can definitely walk there if you needed to.
No, so for me, it's just going to be fascinating going forward here. Especially sort of the 1-2 punch of Riviera opening and what Disney hopes is that this DVC will become sort of you're coming out for the 50th and you want to be close to Epcot. This is the hotel you want to be at.
Oh,
but
yeah,
that
totally.
1-2 punch of if you're a DVC member, come to Riviera, or hey, if you want to make your dollar go a little further, we've got our classic Caribbean, which again. 31, again, open October 1st, 88. So this is a 31-year-old resort at this point, and it looks dynamite.
The landscaping looks great though, and they've redone the food court now. I think for the third time.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's
fine for what it is. It's not highly rated, but if you're staying at Caribbean Beach, you're not necessarily going there for the food. You're going there for the look and feel of the resort. You're going there for its proximity to the parks. And for its grounds, so it's landscaping. And the rooms themselves are fine, right? It's not bad. It's also relatively inexpensive, especially for the rooms farther away from the Skyliners.
I was about to say for the amount of money that you pay for a studio, a room in the tower, to get that much more room,
Stay at Caribbean Beach, get 2 rooms.
There we go.
Spread out.
So.
All right, good synopsis, Jim. Thanks for the recap.
Okay.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for the Disney Dish show today. Please head on over to disneydish.bandcamp.com where you'll find exclusive shows never before heard on iTunes. We're produced fabulously by Aaron Adams, who'll be doing chainsaw and flamethrower ice sculptures at the First Night Portsmouth event this December 31st, starting at 2 p.m. in beautiful downtown Portsmouth, New Hampshire. In the meantime, please go into iTunes and rate our show and tell us what you'd like to hear next. For Jim, this is Len. We'll see you on the next show.